Welcome to the Unapologetic She, a space for you, a space for me, which means this is a space for us. Today we're going to get into these locks. If you didn't watch my one video about the tuft of hair in the front of my head, you might want to go, stop real quick, go watch that video because I'm going to be mentioning that today. But we're going to go through these locks and do a little bit of lock repair. I know that, some people are probably going to watch this video and be like, girl, what are you doing? Why are you doing all of this? But my biggest fear is that because of my heavy hands, because of my palm rolling, my retwisting, whatever the case is, I am so afraid of my locks falling out. Like ever since this one lock decided to, exit stage left and just hop out of my scalp, I've been very anxious about, my locks and making sure that they're not thinning. So today I'm going to go through, make sure that each hair or each part has enough hair for the lock to, attach itself to, or for the lock to, join with. I guess that's what you say. So today I'm going to go through the front of my head specifically because there's a lot that goes on in the front. I wear headbands, I wear scarves, and I think sometimes it rubs up against, the front of my hair, and I want to make sure that these locks are not going to end up thinning just like this one. So I'm going to go through, take hairs from each section, make sure each part has a specific amount of hair. Obviously, I'm not going to sit there and count hairs because who has time? But I do want to make sure any loose hairs that are around that part belong to that lock so that as they grow, as the hair, attaches itself to the lock, it goes where it's supposed to be and not just randomly, flying high to the sky, because nobody has time for thin locks. Nobody has time for locks to be falling out. So stick around, just watch. Duh. So I'm just gonna part my hair only because I want to make sure that I'm working on one lock at a time. I don't want any of my other locks to get in the way while I'm trying to use this crocheting needle. One, because duh. Two, I just want to make sure that I am putting enough hair in each part or each section for my locks to be strong and healthy. Don't mind my facial expressions, y'all. It happens. I'm sorry. I clearly forgot that I was not doing the back of my head. I was only doing the front of my head. I did end up spraying my hair with some water right before this, only because I didn't want to do this on dry hair. You never, ever, ever, ever want to manipulate your locks when they are dry. That will cause a lot of breakage, a lot of damage, and no one has time for that. So of course my hair, you can't tell that it's damp because I have low porosity hair, and water just sits on top of it. It doesn't really penetrate my hair shaft. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to use a clip just so that I can make sure the other locks are staying out of my way, and I'm going to use that to part the hair. So here is the first lock that I'm working on. This lock is pretty thin, or it's not thin, but it's one of the thinner ones. So on the crown or on the front of my hair is a little more, it's not as thick as the rest of my hair is, especially with the manipulation. So I am going to separate. I'm going to make sure that the part is defined, that the hair that is around that part is getting put into the lock. So I'm using a 0.75 crochet needle. Please do not go to Michael's or Joann's and buy a crochet needle for yarn or a crochet needle, to crochet fabric. You want to make sure that you're getting this crochet needle for your hair. I got these off of Amazon. It came in a pack of 3, a 1-prong, 2-prong, and 3-prong, and right now I'm using the 1-prong. So now I'm going to actually switch. I know I started with the 1-prong, but I'm going to switch to the 3-prong just because this one will get the job done a lot quicker and a lot easier. Now, the thing about the 3-prong is, though, it does, you can create holes in your locks or in the root of your locks or where the base is, and you don't want that. So as you can see with the 3-prong, it's not as easy for me to twist the lock in my hand as I am crocheting it. But what's happening as I'm going back and forth with the crochet needle, the hair is just getting tangled up in itself. And in a second, you'll be able to see the defined part. That is actually where the tuft of hair is from the lock that fell out. So I was trying to put that part into that lock that's over there, especially because it is so thick, but as you can see, it didn't work. We're gonna figure something out eventually. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I try to start to twist it a little bit in my fingers before I go in with the crochet needle, and it's a little harder for me. So y'all, if y'all have any advice on how to make this process a little bit easier, let me know. I would love to know, because my goodness, I can't do the twist and crochet things. Not my forte. It's not my thing. And as you can see, the hair attached itself, or the hair did go into the part really well. It's pretty simple. That's why I like this 3-prong. It gets the job done a lot faster. And I'm just going to keep going throughout the front of my head, and you'll see the finished product. Oh, one last thing. I do switch between the 3-prong and the 1-prong, just because the 1-prong, I can feel the hairs attaching themselves to each other a lot better. I think it allows me to get in to the lock a lot easier, especially when when you're crocheting, you want to make sure you still feel the hardness of the lock. There's no point in you crocheting it and it still feels, just as thin as your loose natural hair would. You want to make sure it still feels locked. It's almost like a crochet retwist in the front of my head, but I didn't want to call it that because I don't think I'm actually doing it, to the crochet retwist perfection. So yeah, I'm just going to go through the rest of my hair and I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I did go through the front. I tried to separate the parts as best as I could see them. I did not want super defined parts like it looked like I just had a new retwist out, because one, I don't want that much trauma to my root. I know that the, in and out style of the crochet needle can, be a little bit detrimental to my hair. So I'm gonna chill out a little bit. But as you can see, I did take those loose hairs, especially in the front, like it looks a little more neater now, and combine them or put them, take those hairs and just put them into a part, just so that I know that when I retwist, when I palm roll, when I do my two-strand twist, that hair will belong to that lock and I won't have to worry about it going 5,000 places. Now, I don't recommend doing this often unless you are a person who does crochet their roots, which maybe I'll try in the future. But if you do crochet your roots, cool, wonderful, great, you know exactly what this is. But if you don't, I would recommend watching some videos on how to crochet them well. I don't have a perfect technique because I don't think I've perfected it well, but I do know that this is something that I do want to make sure that I do more often than not, because I do not want any more of my locks to fall out. I don't have time for it. I've already told myself, if they keep, if my heavy hands keep impacting my locks the way that they did, with the one, they're gonna have to go. But we know I'm not gonna cut my locks off. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.